we have seen so many AAA companies struggling and they only have themselves to blame. Maybe if they were releasing higher quality products, they were listening to their customers, things would be going better for them. But that isn't the case. And EA is shutting down a ton of games in January. And today, a major BioWare game is being shut down, and it's looking very rough for the future of BioWare, EA, and really a lot of these companies. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, companies are sick and tired of losing money, so they figure we're just going to shut down these live service only games, then we can get rid of some of these developers, they can move on to the next project. But I personally think it should be illegal to rip people's purchases away from them, because for most of these types of games, when the servers are shut down, that's it. You can no longer play it in any capacity. And there are a few live service games that have gotten offline modes, but the functionality is still limited. There are features that are missing because it is no longer using the same sort of design that it was created with. Though EA is sick and tired of losing money, they have dumped billions of dollars into games that have gone absolutely nowhere. And with their latest acquisition, they're finally saying enough is enough. We need to turn things around, and very quickly. And now we're finding out that a BioWare game has shut down today. Two games are also following, and we are seeing just a big change. So it says EA, officially known as Electronic Arts, is set to shut down 3 games next month, and this is in January because this article is from the very end of December. It says, for those unfamiliar with the latter, BioWare is the studio best known for Dragon Age and Mass Effect, as well as the team behind Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Meanwhile, the other 2 EA games come from Maxis and EA Tribuon. In the case of all 3 EA games, each has already been delisted, but servers have been maintained. This is changing though now. This is a big reason why I support movements like Stop Killing Games. If I purchase a product, I should be able to use my product. I should not have to deal with a company deciding, enough is enough. We're going to rip this purchase away from you. So we are finding out that yes, as of today, January 12th, 2026, the Anthem game servers are permanently shut down, and it is not playable because it was an online only title that required a PlayStation Plus subscription to play, and they had gotten so lazy that they decided to not create an offline mode. That was originally their plan from what we heard, though that was not executed. So the game servers would be available until January 12th, at which time the game will no longer be playable. It was designed to be an online only title, so once the servers go offline, it will no longer be playable. And this is such a disgusting business practice. I'm not a fan of Anthem. Anthem was such a massive letdown and such a massive disappointment that I don't care about the game itself. I care about the precedent that this sets, that companies can say, yeah, we're only going to keep a game alive for 2 years, then we're going to rip it out of your library, we're going to steal that money from you. This is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form, and this is the major title it's happening to. The other 2 games are The Sims Mobile, which I never really hear about, and also NBA Live 19, and they never disclosed a reason for any of these delistings and shutdowns. One would assume they are bleeding money. They do not want to pay licensing fees for things like NBA Live, and they finally said, meh, we just are sick and tired of keeping these games alive. And, well, Anthem was a massive failure. It lost hundreds of millions of dollars. It was the beginning of the very predatory live service games. And now that this one has bitten the dust, I would assume that a lot of games are going to follow like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. There's no offline mode for that. If they shut that down tomorrow, that's it. Your purchase is ripped away from you. But BioWare is struggling, right? They're definitely going through a big problem. And Anthem was a massive failure, which I think had led to the beginning of the end for the studio. I used to love BioWare. They have a lot of games that I hold in my heart very closely. I have a lot of nostalgia for, and I wish that they could go back to those old days, but there's no way that that is going to happen now. And when you look at their failures, games like Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, Dragon Age the Veilguard, well, you can tell that soon I don't think they're going to be around, because if the next Mass Effect game fails, that's it. BioWare's going to go under. BioWare is reportedly now down to fewer than 100 employees after a round of layoffs and staff exits following the release of Dragon Age the Veilguard and a restructure to focus on the next Mass Effect game. Bloomberg reported that BioWare was more than 200 people 2 years ago when Dragon Age the Veilguard was in the thick of production. We also know that some of those people were working on Anthem, but because the game had not gone well, they had fired a lot of those people. They did keep some around and put them on games like Veilguard. Now some of these people are working on the new Mass Effect, but unfortunately for them, I don't see a way that they can gain customers' trust back from what we have heard. If this new Mass Effect game fails, they are basically at the end of their lifespan in this industry. We all know that Anthem was the start of a long decline for EA and also BioWare, and I can't say I'm surprised when you do not listen to your customers and you are really trying to push every big trend in this industry that gamers do not like. Yeah, you're not going to make the amount of money that you expected, and I'll say it one more time, I don't particularly care about Anthem itself being shut down. I care about the precedent that this sets. Companies can go, yeah, we're creating this big live service game, and 2 years later, when it's not profitable for them, they can rip your purchase away from you. That is completely unacceptable. But this is an issue that we face in this industry now. When we are buying a game, we're not truly buying it. We are getting a license. We are getting permission to use their title. And if they ban your account, you can't use it anymore. It's not like you can resell it. And it's just sad that the industry has gotten to this point. I say it all the time. If tomorrow everything was magically better, every game releasing was a 10 out of 10, there were no predatory microtransactions anymore. When you were buying a game, you actually owned it. I would be the happiest person alive, because I want this industry to thrive. I love video games. I want them to do better, but that actually would mean they'd have to start listening to their customers, and they're not doing that right now. And so it's hard to believe that we are going to see any major positive changes anytime soon. Now, this post was made in the PlayStation Plus subreddit. There are hundreds of people talking about this, saying offline mode would have been nice. This game was so much fun, should be illegal for it just to be shut down, as people have paid for it. Go look up Stop Killing Games. It's very important. Why can't I play Anthem in offline mode? Because you can't, is essentially their answer. Not gonna lie, I thought they shut this down like a year ago, and yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people who aren't playing it, people who purchased it at release that were disappointed, and it's just been collecting dust on their shelf or their virtual library, but I should be able to play it 20 years after it releases if I really want to. Absolute BS. It should have had an offline mode available on January 12th. Just more proof gaming companies give zero fucks about gamers. This is exactly why I started playing it recently, because I wanted to see what all the fuss was about with it being bad, and so far from what I've played, I don't hate it. And well, if you are watching this video, you no longer can play it, because it is dead, it is done, it is buried, and it is wild that none of the access media is really talking about this. All of these articles that I'm referencing were from weeks ago, and well, this is a pretty big piece of news. So will BioWare respond one last time and say goodbye forever to Anthem? Probably not, but it should be illegal to rip people's purchases away from them. And really, this highlights how lazy these studios are and how little they care about us, because if they did, they would have made a playable offline mode for it. So they're going through a lot of shutdowns right now. EA is really at the end of their patience with BioWare. Two other games are going to follow Anthem's closure, and the industry is going through a lot of major changes right now. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.